You're welcome to marketing class once again. So last we meet to talk on the classes of international trade. We talk about the international trade system, that means the register body, where we talk about the WTO, the World Trade Organization, IMF, the International Monetary Fund, ITC, International Trade Center, WCO, World Custom Organization, and their duty. And now we are going into organizing for international marketing. Under this, we are going to talk about approaches to entering international markets. What are the approach? How can you enter into international market, and what is the mode of what you can make use of? So if you look at the definition there, we have approaches to entry international markets involve choosing a mode of entry, that is selecting an institution or arrangement for carrying out international marketing activities. And we are talking about these approaches. We have five, the way you can approach and get your entrance into international markets. Number one, we talk about the licensing. Number two, direct exporting. Number three, indirect exporting. Number four, joint ventures, and then direct investment. Each mode of entry has its own associated levels of commitment, risk, control, and profit potential. Then those approaches entries, let's talk about the license first. The licensing. When we are talking about this is the entry method. And it's very comparatively simple for a company to register its presence in another country of interest. The country that you have interest to deal with, to transact your business with, then you have to know the way you're going to register with that particular country. Then this is why this licensing comes up. And the licensor enter an agreement with a licensee in the foreign market. That means they have to offer the right to use the manufacturing process, the patent, the trademark, and the trade system. So when you're talking about the licensor, they are the party that grants a license to another party. Then the licensee, we talk about the person to whom that license is granted. So when the licensee enters an agreement with the licensor, enter an agreement with the licensee, that means they have to offer you the right to make use of their trademark, to make use of their trade secret for their fees and the royalty. So when we're talking about the licenses, they have advantages and we have their disadvantages too. Part of the advantage is what? It avoids the risk of taking advantages of a foreign investment without compensation. You cannot just get their products, cannot just get into their country without any compensation. Then the next one is what? It requires little capital investment and perhaps the quickest method of entering into foreign markets. The easiest way that you can get a good entrance into an international market, to another country, is through this licensing. Then let's go to disadvantages. Licensor has no control over production and marketing by the licensee. So although they can grant you the license, but they will not have any control over your product. Then the next one is what? The reputation of the licensor depends on the performance of the licensee. So if you are granted a license to trade with this country, that means you have to put up a good reputation so that the person that grants you that license will not spoil the reputation of that person, so that you're able to bring another country in and you're able to accept the person. Then let's go into number two, direct exporting. When we're talking about the direct exporting, this is entry strategies. It involves a company selling directly through its own sales force, foreign merchants or agents that have the necessary experience and skills. So instead of you to get license, you can trade with the person that already have the experience and the skills to be able to move in your product into another country. Another is we have two sets that can carry out these direct exporting. Number we have foreign-based agent or distributor. They deal with the exclusive, semi-exclusive, and non-exclusive. That's me. When we are talking about the exclusive, the agent they may agree between the exporter and the agent alone. The semi-exclusive is what? Is the agent handle the exporter goods alone. Then the non-exclusive is where the agent handle a variety of goods. So they have to handle different goods from different countries. And the next one of it will have domestic-based departments and sales representatives. So you can go through these two channels to move directly into to make use of the direct exporting to get approach into international markets. Now let's go to the third one. We have indirect exporting. As we have direct exporting, we have indirect exporting. And this indirect exporting involves the use of independent organization within the exporter domestic market. So those people they make use of independent organization to get entrance into the international market. And we have the domestic based export merchants, we have the domestic based export agents, we have the biggie packing, we have the cooperative organization. So those four, they can what? They are the independent organization that you can approach, and they will help you in getting an entrance into the international market. We have the advantages of indirect exporting. Number one, we have communication is easier than using foreign intermediaries. Communication is very easy when you get this intermediary. Then investment and risk are lower than setting up one's own sales and marketing facility. And we have the exporting organization knowledge of selling abroad can be used. So they already have the knowledge how they can sell your product abroad and overseas. So when we have that one, there's no problem. Now we have to check the next one now, joint venture. When we are talking about this joint venture, is what these entry strategies involve the foreign investors joining with the local investors. That's me. When you have the foreign investors, they come together to join the local investors to able to make use of the both sides, at least the agreement between both to get entrance into the international market. Then to combine some aspects of the manufacturing, marketing efforts in order to share expert costs and marketing contacts. So they make sure the foreign investors with the local investment. So when we are talking about the payments, the shipping payments, the exports, the export, everything, they come together to produce and to what? To move international market, because you would think that it is the foreign investor that is dealing with that local investors too. So they will not able to compare which one is for the foreign and the local. So they have to come together to get into the international market, and they will be acting under the joint venture. And the reason for this joint venture is what? Joint ventures are set up so as to meet government conditions for market entry. So when they come together, it's very, very easy for the two company investors to meet up with the government condition. And it may be set up because the foreigner firm lack resources to set up production facility alone, because it may be difficult for them to get a particular machine to operate. So when it came together, it's very, very easy for them to move into the foreign firm and to produce a good facility. Then the next one is finding a national partner help in some markets that are too competitive and saturated to give room for a complete new operation. So when you get a national partner, when you have a partner, say that two is better than one. When you come together, you bring out something good. So what are the advantages of joint venture? It reduces the result cost, it reduces the cost. Then number two, favorable trade term. You have a favorable trade term, and it encourages the importation of technology and thus enhance development in developing countries. So, and we have the disadvantages too. There are always conflicts on investment marketing as well as the company policy, because they want to, the different venture with a different policy. So there's always be a fight between them that we have to come into terms with our own rules. These two want them to come in terms with their own rules too. So when we come together, they have to just have to settle their differences. Then the next one is the foreign company will always want to dominate the management of the business by virtues of the location, because you are the one that want to enter into international markets. So the foreign investors, they always want to tell you that they are still your boss. They are the one that's going to control you. They always want to take all the control to themselves. And mind you, the local investors, they will not keep quiet. They have to do what? They have to fight it back. So by doing that, it's going to be a serious trouble. So, but they just have to what? Understand themselves and work things out. So then let's go to the next one. The last one, proper direct investment. When we are talking about the direct investment, is the method of market entry involve entry foreign markets by investing in foreign-based assembly or manufacturing facilities in the foreign market. It carries the greatest commitment of capital and managerial effort. When we are talking about that investment, what is the method that you can make use to get into the national market, because everything you want to do must be on the foreign-based assembly is what they want that you have to do. So another is we have, there's two stages that you can, two types of this direct investment. Number one, we have wholly owned direct investments, and the next one is what? By buying new facilities. So when you're talking about this wholly owned direct investments, This one to have two types. Number one, through the acquisition of foreign producer. By buying out a joint venture partner, you can buy one of the joint venture when you get them. So that's mean you have all the assets when you acquire their foreign shares. That's mean they are what they will be the one controlling that investment. And this never was what by buying new facilities. When you get new machine, new facilities, they override the other company, the other local investors. That's mean you are the one directing the production of that company. So that's mean you have the direct investment to join. And the next one is the second part of it is acquisition of foreign producer. Now talking about this acquisition is a means of getting ownership of global company. It means gaining access to a qualified labor force, national management, local knowledge, and contact with the local markets and government. When you are talking about this acquisition, they are the ones who work for foreign producer. They will get access. They will always show that they dominate the local market, the government, the knowledge, everything. They will collide the labor force. Everything will be what in their capacity. So when they get that, that's me. They are like the owner of the foreign investment. And when they have the direct access to acquire all these foreign producer, forget it, they're already in international markets. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of this direct investment? As they have the advantages, they have disadvantages too. Number one, wholly owned direct investments allow the investors to have control over the business than licensing or joint venture. We are talking about this direct venture. They have this access that they can direct, they can control all the business under them, even international markets, more than we are talking about the licensing or the joint venture. So number two is it allows firms to benefit from foreign governments, the investment and the incentives. They always get more incentive. They have the benefits with the foreign government. Every benefit sent to any other producer, they have access to it too. Then if they enjoy direct access to raw material at lower cost. So they enjoy buying materials at a very, very cheap rate because of what they're already in the international market. It has fully control over investment. Anybody that invests in them, they have control over it. So they don't have problem with that. So that's why we have the advantages. There are always a disadvantages to them too. That's me the problem of the direct investment. Number one, direct investment is an expensive option. When you want to go to it, you want to buy yourself, you want to put yourself directly into the business in the foreign markets. That's when you have to have a lot of money before you're able to what to get into the foreign base assembly, to able to manufacture the product in the foreign market. So not that you are exporting it. No, you are there, you base there to what? To produce your own product. So it's very, very expensive. The next one is that if the venture fails, more money will be lost, and this will bring about the risk of being taken away without payment. So when you fail, that's me, the money is what's gone for life. So when you fail to meet up with the government policy, when you fail to meet up with their rules and regulations, when you fail to meet up with the payment, fees, everything, forget it. That's me, your company is locked up. They will quickly what? Expel you from me then. That's me. The risk is on you alone. The next one is what? Is involve carrying a lot of money in form of expenses in communication and travel. So you have to promote your goods whether you like it or not. You want to get people to join you also, to invest, to buy shares. That's mean you have to what? Spend a lot of money in communication, and you have to move around. You travel a lot to what? To advert and to tell people about your product. And the last one is what? It creates competition and shake up the local business to lower their price, sales, and recognize the operations in terms of cost. So when they get into production, they have to make sure that when they produce their production, the all their product is not that expensive. But now they have to affect the local market too, because by the time the local producer are trying to move their goods, their products into the international market, they'll find it very, very difficult, because when those people operating under this investment lower their prices so that they will able to meet up with the international market, and everybody will get their products at a cheaper price. But those ones, when they are trying to meet up, that's me, is going to affect their price. So under this approach, we have 5. So you choose the one that you know that is best known to you, that will that will get you more profit, that will not give you more expenses, and you're able to move higher and get into the international market without stress. So when next we meet, we continue on the recipe for adaptation in international markets. So